Hey, welcome to another edition of Mark in the Minivan. I got my Radiohead t-shirt on today that was exclusive from the July 11th show, 2008, at Madison Square Garden. We got Pearl here. You okay, Pearl? And Pearl, you're supposed to look at the camera. And we got bad lighting. I'm not sure what's going on here. It's dark, it's rainy. I just finished a 2-mile walk with my dog. Pearl, Pearl, look up. There's Pearlie, and yeah, my name is Mark Striegel, and I'm going to review the Paul Stanley book today. Yeah, again, the lighting's bad here. So I am wet because it's raining. We walked 2 miles in a mist that kind of went back and forth between a drizzle and a mist. So here we are in West Orange, New Jersey, reviewing Paul Stanley's book, Backstage Pass, which I listened to on Audible. And it was good. It was really good. That's I like to say that up front so people can determine if I liked it or not. That's my short version. It was good, really good. So if you're looking for stories about backstage, you hear Backstage Pass, I'm thinking like, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's not what this book is. Not at all. And I give Paul big props because he didn't, it's not like it's leftover stuff from his first book. It doesn't feel like that at all. It has a really unique feel to the book because you get in Paul Stanley's mind, and he talks about his path that he's journeyed down in life and how he's ended up where he is. And now, in recent years, as an obsessive Kiss fan, just the way Paul carries himself, there's an aura about him. I don't mean to get all hippy-dippy here, but there's an aura about him that you can kind of sense that he's a little more at peace with himself. And listen, a lot of artists aren't at peace with themselves, and that's why some of their art has been so great. But you do get that from Paul in recent years. When you see him doing interviews or just talking. I don't know, there's something, I can't verbally describe it, but there's something I see. And when you read this book, when I read this book and I put that together with the Paul Stanley that I see in more recent years in public, it kind of makes sense. Do I agree with every life lesson Paul Stanley puts forth in this book? No, absolutely not. I probably agree with 70% of what he's saying. And he always kind of ties stuff back to Kiss, well, this song on Carnival of Souls was about my son Evan, or, when we did The Elder, this and that, Bob Ezrin. So you get a little bit of that in there. But if you're looking for a book that's all about, stories about his time in Kiss, this is not the book for you. And I actually enjoyed most of all in the book hearing about his family. And I really think family is so important. And I think that it helps ground people. One of the most striking things he said that I agree with, is that you don't want to do something that your kids are going to look at and you're going to, and think, oh, gross, my dad did that, or I'm ashamed that my dad did that. And that was a powerful statement as somebody who has 2 kids. And family, man. Family is so important, whether family's blood or whether it's not blood. Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley are family. I mean, and those 2 guys are very important to one another, which he gets into that in the book. But it's a great listen. Is it a self-help book? No. Are there self-help lessons in the book? Yes. It's a very unique book. You get in Paul's mind. There's times you feel like you're in the therapy office with him. There's other times you feel like oh, maybe he's telling me something that I could use in my life. Listen, all our paths are very different, which is why I say I probably don't agree with all his lessons and all his theories about how he's ended up in this place in his life. But yes, 70% of it I agree, and the other 30% I loved hearing because I listened to it on Audible. The VO guy who did it is not Paul Stanley. He does not read the book. And the VO guy did an okay job. I didn't think he was the perfect choice for the book, but he was fine. He did fine. Not bad, not amazing. So yeah, Paul Stanley's book. I just finished listening to it on this 2 mile walk that I just did around the reservoir in South or West Orange, New Jersey, with my dog. And a big thanks to Paul for writing that book. And it is not a continuation of his first book. It's good. I loved hearing about Paul's, family. I loved hearing about his philosophies on working out, which I agree 100% on what he had to say about physical fitness and stuff. I was totally with him 100% on that. And life is a journey for Paul Stanley and for you and I. There are different paths we can take. Sometimes I feel personally, which maybe we'll get into this on another episode, that you take some of these paths without a lot of choice. One thing I disagree with Paul, I don't think life has as many choices. I think a lot of the paths we take are predetermined in our DNA. I really do. But having said that, I'm not somebody who totally throws free will out. Man, I do believe we do have free will as individuals, but it's just not as much as everyone likes to think. But that's a whole nother story that doesn't really have anything to do with it. Well, it does have something to do with Paul Stanley's book. But you hear how he figures out how he ended up at this stage in his life, and it is a fun listen for us fans of Paul, and even for maybe people who don't know Paul. I think it would be an interesting listen and read. Of course, again, I did listen to it on Audible, the audio version of the book. So there you have it. Paul Stanley's book, Backstage Pass. I say read it. Whether you're a Kiss fan or not, read it. Or listen to it.